Plays are a great time to spend an afternoon on theatrical storytelling. But what the audience doesn't see is the backstory on all the effort it took to bring the show to us. This is a behind-the-scenes look at Overlook Theater's latest production, Seussical the Musical. A look into hours, days, and weeks in the 3 months production of what they'll see on stage for just one weekend. It all starts with an idea.
6 years ago, it had just closed on Broadway, and I decided we needed to do that at some point. But we had to wait for the correct time and the place and people, and it just worked out this year.
What's unique about adapting a work of Seuss compared to anything you've ever done before?
I didn't personally adapt it. I bought the rights to use this script from a musical theater company. But we do have to interpret the characters in it, and since those are well-known characters that people are familiar with and that they've read lots of books about and things, then we have to take the illustrations and the description of those characters from the storybooks and transfer them into those characters that we used in the show. So we do have to do a little adapting when it comes to creating the look of the costumes and sets and things like that, but as far as our adaptation of the literature or the work, that's already done for us.
A script describes the characters' dialogue and actions, and about the setting that visually aids the story, and it's Corbin's and everyone else's job to display it to the audience.
How do you present a play on stage for the audience to watch?
First of all, you have to be planned and organized. Like, we started working on Seussical back in May of 2008. It's all a huge process that takes a long period of time. Lots of planning, lots of organizing.
What's your budget status when you make a play?
Every show is different depending on their budget. Seussical is a newer show, so royalties were a little expensive. And we had a cast of 60, and all of them had to have multiple costumes.
Now is to find who's to play the characters. So to save the time and energy to look around and find them, they have set an audition where all talents who are interested would come together to try out.
Is that next?
So how do you figure out of all the actors who's up to the task?
You just have to go with your gut instinct a lot of times. Sometimes I've decided, okay, let's just try something different and put this person here or put that person there. Sometimes it is physical type. There may be only 2 people there that can play a certain part because of the way they look, or their size, or their singing ability, and then you have to base it on how well they read, how well they match their pitch, how well they dance, stuff like that.
When you do a musical that requires multiple talents, how do you decide?
A lot of times it depends on your body type. Like a 4-foot-tall person could not play Gaston in the Beauty and the Beast musical. He has to be big and burly, just like JoJo, I know had to be able to sing really, really high, and had to be a tiny person because he was supposed to be like an 8-year-old boy.
A lot of the people here have been working with Corbin for years, so Corbin knows who's already perfect for the role. After the night is through and everyone did their act to be judged, Corbin uses his results to decide who to be who or what in the world of Seuss. Seuss's universe within his books is quite an eccentric world of fantasy, so taken out of the pages of the book on stage takes work to transfer that vision to a whole new dimension. On to making the wood boards and reuse material and make it all Seuss.
So how does using these different types of drills for the same hole determine how the screw goes in?
The big drill makes a hole the screw can fall through. And the little one makes a hole that the threads will cut into. So that means the threads will not attach to the top, they'll only attach to the bottom, and that will pull the 2 pieces together tightly. But if they thread through both of them, then once they start, they never get any closer together because the threads keep them from closing up. Okay?
Great facts from the profession.
What do you want to know, Robbie?
So, what are these huge lumps are gonna be in
Those
the play?
huge lumps are going to be houses in Whoville because it's Whoville. Everything's built on an angle. So there's going to be doors that have the same shape of those, and then the windows are going to be these circles that go into the top, and then they have little chimneys that curve out too.
What's is it to be straight in Whoville?
Nothing is straight in Whoville. Everything's curved and crooked and rounded.
So, what are you working on now?
This is a tree that has a bird's nest in the top, that will have an egg in the nest, that Colton will hatch out of sometime during the show.
Ah, is it part of the story?
I hope so.
So after all the actors have been selected for their parts through auditions, it's now time to see if that potential can make it through continuous exercises to perform 2 months later in front of the crowd. What is the working routine in rehearsals?
Well, like, there's different kind of rehearsals. Like, sometimes we just sit and sing, and sometimes we do blocking, and sometimes we do dancing. There's just a lot of different things that go on, and I mean, it's usually really, really fun at rehearsals. Like, I enjoy it a lot.
To convince the audience that they are seeing characters, not actors in a play, those actors need to learn to be in the character. So, throughout the entire play, what is your character's attitude and personality?
Well, my character's attitude and personality was, I was just really into everything the Cat in the Hat was showing me, and I was just like in awe of the whole thing. And this is what I did the whole play. I went, I just pretty much did that. Like, I don't know, just acting like a child and just like thinking everything is the coolest thing you've ever seen, because really my character like has never seen anything like that. So it's just like magical for him and stuff. And yeah.
So what's the role of your character?
Well, my character was the boy, and what he did, he pretty much like created the story out of his imagination, and he just like, he was just in the story, like he went through the scenes and just like watched and stuff, and added a little tidbit here and there and stuff, so it was really fun.
In a musical, there are rarely any lines that are just spoken. There's always the adrenaline of singing the songs and moving your feet to the beat. Dancing is motion of the scenes, so choreographing the scenes is as necessary as singing. Theater being both seeing and hearing, while needing the actors to act the characters, it's equally important to look the character.
Hello.
Hello.
What are you doing?
I'm making a hippopotamus outfit.
And which character is the hippopotamus in Horton Seussical the musical?
She's just the hippopotamus. I don't know.
More.
Sew what Scotty tells me to sew.
Well, so is she like an extra?
I don't think so. No. One of the animals in the show.
Well, does Hippo have as big as a role as like Horton the elephant or the
I really
mayor?
don't know. I haven't been to rehearsal, so I don't know what
So she
that
may have
role
the
is.
so the hippo may have the biggest role or the smallest role, but she requires as much work on the costume as anybody else.
Exactly. And a big costume at that.
So what are you doing now?
I am cutting out the sleeves for a jacket that will go on the panther.
Who's the costume for?
A girl named Michelle. I don't know who she is yet. I haven't seen her. I hear she's very tiny. So we'll have a fitting maybe on Tuesday. Should be far enough along on Tuesday that I can try it on her and make sure it fits just right.
So who is the designer and idealist behind the costumes?
The costumes are mainly designed in Scotty's head. He talks to us about going to fabric stores and seeing fabrics and thinking, oh, that would just be perfect for that character or that animal in the show. And then he brings home all the fabric and all the patterns, and one at a time hands them to the seamstresses, and gives us instructions.
Corbin, through all the years, has gathered enough cloths, fabrics, polyester. There is so much to lay your hands on and to make your own. What do you think of all the costumes in Seussical?
Oh, the costumes were amazing. They were pretty much the coolest costume I've ever seen for a show. Like, a lot of places they actually go and buy their costumes for the show, which really costs a lot of money. You might pay $50 for one costume to rent. But like for us, what we do with Overlook is we make every single costume, whether it's a hat or a shoe maybe, we make everything. And it's just really cool to see how much talent and how much effort people put into those costumes. It was just amazing.
How do you like your costume in particular?
Oh, my costume was awesome.
How Corbin wants the audience to take in the experience is under his control, but it's to the audience's pleasure we have to satisfy. One such thing is enhancements. They have the equipment to edit the light and sound to enhance how they'd like the audience to hear, see, and feel the experience. All that is under the skill and supervision of the technicians to have it come out perfectly in those qualities. Now we have our play on the grounds. It is time to spread the word that a group of talented people have created an act for all the people to enjoy. There are posters that have been made and handed to everyone in the group to put anywhere in town and spreading the word from the cast and crew to friends and family and to other friends and family. Now we see all the hours, days, and through the months it took to please a crowd in a 1.5 hour show that was presented in that one weekend. Tune in for the final presentation.